Hey there. My name is Adam. My name is Adam Black, and I am a good 8 days away from my deadline to submit my Bachelor Thesis. In 8 days, I will pass the tunnel, the keyhole moment, as I sometimes call it, before being a bachelor in physics and after being a bachelor in physics. And in all honesty, it's very hard. Physics is a very hard and a very disciplined field, which is everything. It's almost as if it's opposite to what one can find in online, on social media, and perhaps even when we are, as human beings, speaking with each other in terms of conflict and humanity. Physics is a very, very precious, accurate, and hard topic, and it's probably one of the hardest things that I've ever did in my life. Except, of course, perhaps just being in a positive state of mind. Since my last ayahuasca trip, I only posted something once, and it was just an update that I'm going to enter into my last year of physics, and then I just went quiet. Very, very quiet. And the reason is because the currents of change are really upon us. A lot of things are happening in both my life, but also in the world. And there has been a major shift in thinking and consideration about my impact upon others and myself. For example, on one end, I really don't like feeling the suffering and the feeling of emptiness and the feeling of dryness whenever I'm writing something, especially if it's something that I'm writing for the first time, and I'm not quite sure if I will be able to maneuver out of the curvature of doing something for the first time. And at the same time, I know that I have to do this, so the suffering is worth it. The bachelor degree in itself, for me, doesn't really mean anything, but it does mean something for other people. And it's also, I suppose, something that, when gauged across many people, it's something that's not like obvious to do. But I've already learned myself deeply that, for me, a bachelor degree doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, the bachelor degree doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, it's about how you are standing every day again and again in life. And I do feel that, almost, how to put it like weirdly, that perhaps indeed the buck stops with me. Somehow, the bachelor degree gives one a sharpening edge to think about the world. But then at the end of the day, money has to flow. And for some reason, money flows there where there is a story. So there are many promises made in science. Many, many promises. And not only in science, but in general. People promise things all the time. And I suppose that these promises are what makes us human, to tell a story, to be able to pack something into a certain way of thinking. That's exactly what makes us humans and exactly what defines us as a human being. But in the core of being able to tell a story, there sits a lie. It's hard to put into words, but a story it's almost as if it's like a lie that wants to heal itself from the trauma of time, of being in time. Because let's face it, certainly once people get knowledgeable, they get arrogant. They think that they can solve all problems at the same time. But it's so clear to me that even the tiniest and most obvious problems are sometimes hard to discuss with other people. And it's hard because on one hand there is a logical truth answer, but on the other hand the truth answer might shoot shortly to the actual truth that is bigger than that. So we tell each other stories. We tell ourselves stories to keep ourselves busy, to keep others busy, to provide certain types of value to others. And I suppose we are entering into a very dangerous time. We are, funny enough, already in the dangerous time. Look, I've been blogging for a while now. I've been posting for a while, but not in the main currents of society. And the reason is because it seems as if, and that sounds so stupid, but it sounds as if people will only listen to you once you gain a certain type of maturity. Once you gain a certain level of certification, most people will only start to listen then. And then, funny enough, whenever you speak, no matter what is being produced, it shall always fall on deaf ears in some percentage of the population. And I suppose that is like both a magical knowledge and at the same time it's terrifying. Because with AI, we are now standing in front of a huge wave of possibilities. We are able to build tools that enrich us in our diversity and allow us to speak languages beyond that of our own, and allows us to create vast translation matrices beyond all things that are alive and dead and above and below. Yet I suspect that this wave shall be used to obliterate that which has been false, to obliterate that which is old and destined to die. Let me put it this way. For some reason, most human beings still believe that economy is a zero-sum game, where goodwill and the capability of humanity is not at play almost at every chain of this economic endeavor. But weirdly enough, a lot of money is being created and generated by promising false stories and false information to human beings. And I suppose that is scary. We have there's a whole motherfucker. There's a whole piece of shit, like a truly degenerate human being as a president. And there are many degenerate people across the world that are president or in a leadership position. And they are obviously there because the general consciousness is generating enough momentum to have a piece of shit elected. And on one end, I could make a career out of just exposing the lies and the obvious shadows of this dynamic. But there is something much more coming. We as a human species, we are evolving. The human species itself is evolving, and we are in this evolutionary pressure moment where we get to feel more than think. It's almost as if thinking has stopped and we have to feel more. And the thinking is just like the steering wheel of a car, and the feeling itself is the driving. And it feels as if we have to feel ourselves through life and not think ourselves through life. And I suppose due to the weird conditionings of the world, it's so hard for us to make mistakes. Still, it's so hard to make mistakes because certain mistakes lead to a huge loss of money, to a huge loss of economic power, purchase power. Whereas we are still then trapped by our mind. And I suspect that we will be trapped in our mind still, like, I suppose in 2170. So in like 150 years, I think, we will start to get out of the mental trappings of our mind. We are truly, as a species, we are actually capable and able to right now, today, starting today, produce heaven on earth. But for some reason, we are limiting ourselves to the certainty that a mind can provide. I'm not sure how to put this, but it is very weird for me. It's just so weird for me. But because I'm a scientist, funny enough, but I'm also, you could say, a mysticist or a magician, or a person of creative aspects and beings. And I do explore many religions very deeply. And once you have explored deeply enough, there is no way that you are able to say that there is no God. At the same time, I cannot say that there is a God. It seems as if to be a human being is to be in a constant flux between there is a God and there is no free God. And to put it one step further, that there is free will and that there is no free will. Like we are in a constant flux. And I suppose, I'm not even sure how to put this to people, but there is really no certainty in being. But there is, however, certainty in change, and allowing the feeling of change to come over us and allow us to grip us deeply in our heart. But then, if we are able to kill other people in that name, then we still have a false god before us. So I suppose this is maybe like a heating warning for many people, but yeah, in 7 days I will be finishing my bachelor degree. I'm studying time operators and how time is involved in quantum mechanics, and then specifically when a quantum particle is established, when will it arrive somewhere, and the mechanics of calculating these things and simulating these things under a gravitational potential, and then also tunneling time under a gravitational potential. What I'm saying right now is, like, I'm in the process of writing, and I think 60 or 70% done, but it's still a huge effort to compile all this information. And I can feel the complexity of it all, even though when it's simply explained, because it requires a mathematical way of thinking, already such a huge portion of the population is being eliminated from the reading of this. Whereas when I would be simplifying it to the point of making chill human beings understand what I did, then suddenly there is a lie is being told. So it's so weird that to lie is to sell. To lie is to tell a story. And perhaps even to do physics, one is to approximate reality, which is kind of like a constant flux of truth that we can keep on seeing. And we are just trying to approximate it with a lie and with notation. Either way, presentation is in 2 weeks, paper deadline is in 1 week, and then I have still 4 exams to go, and then I'm done. And I'm done with my bachelor degree. And then I'm moving to Ghent in Belgium to get a master's degree in physics with a specialization in quantum mechanics and quantum computing. So we'll see how far that will get us. And this summer I'm also finishing a paper on quaternion logic applied to quantum mechanics and Bell's theorem. All fun stuff, deeply esoteric, like even for physical standards, what I'm doing is esoteric. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I suppose I just have to accept that my audience is both special and very limited at the same time. Either way, let me just share you this most beautiful full moon that's on the horizon. Oh, you will not be able to see it. Well, that's okay. I'm just gonna show you around how it looks like, right? So I've been walking and running here in this beautiful environment for such a long time. This is one of my favorite trees, by the way. It's a beautiful, beautiful tree. I'm sure you can see it, that it's like a perfectly shaped tree. Not many trees are like that. So either way, thank you. There's been 15 minutes of talking and speaking. And I suppose I will just continue today, another day. Thank you.